Alright, so Phantom Nightmare is coming, and we have less than 2 weeks to go before things change drastically. Today we're gonna discuss top 5 cards from the Phantom Nightmare set. Share your thoughts in the comments and let me know which cards you're going to be picking up from the set, if any, and also like the video if you enjoy it. So we cannot do this video without talking about Snake Eyes Populous, or Poplar, if that's how they're gonna call it now. I don't even know like what's with the names and the changes. I just get annoyed thinking about it. So let's just call him Populous for the time being. So this card, alongside the next one we're gonna be discussing, which you probably guessed it by now, is Promethean Princess, is going to have a lot of impact on the metagame. So if you don't know by now, Snake Eyes Populous is basically able to be special summoned for free if it's added to your hand, except by drawing it. So it's providing a body and a search upon the summon. If it's normal or special summon, it's able to add a Snake Eyes spell trap from your deck to your hand. So for any fire deck under the sun, pretty much, if they're playing Pyros and Bonfire and all of that, this card is going to be insane. It's able to get to original Sinful Spoils, so also for any deck playing a level 1 fire specifically, this is going to be extremely useful. You don't need to rely on Witch as much anymore, where it's actually having to send a card from field or hand to be special summoned. Then you needs to get the original Sinful Spoils, and you need to get rid of another card for the original Sinful Spoils effect. But what makes Populous so incredible is the fact that if it's sent to the graveyard, it can also target itself or any other fire monster in the graveyard and place it in the spell and trap card zone of the owner of the card. So it's a free card to send off of the original Sinful Spoils. And I think it's just so important to not nagging card advantage, because if you get ashed right now on the original Sinful Spoils, you just lost a body and you lost another card, and it's just a nag by itself and it feels terrible. So with Populous being a free card to send off of it, it doesn't feel as bad if you actually get ashed, but at the point of doing Populous effect and then original Sinful Spoils and all of that, you probably already ate a hand trap. So at that point your plays are going through and you are doing your Fire King combos and you're happy. So for any fire deck pretty much, Snake Eyes, Rescue Ace, but mainly Fire Kings, this card is definitely a game changer. What's also great about it is the fact that it's working so well with the Snake Eyes archetype, of which it's part of. For example, the effect of Snake Eyes Ash that says you can send 2 face-up cards you control to the grave, including this card, special summon 1 Snake Eye monster from your hand or deck except itself. It's also able to send off the Populous, get out the Flambird Dragon, which just gets your combos going and gets you to more bodies once it's sent to the graveyard. Populous can make a Link Uribo or any other Link one, which is extremely useful in making SP, Anima, anything. So all in all, it is one of the chase cards of the set. And like I said before, things are going to change a lot with its presence in the meta. Another card that's also definitely gonna leave a mark is Promethean Princess, Bestower of Flames. And I don't know, this is one of the cards where you read it and you're like, this is probably getting banned at some point because it's just busted. When a card is able to do something generic, that's never a good thing. Almost never. So let's go through Princess's effect. Of course, it's a generic Link 3 that requires 2+ effect monsters, and the only little downside would be that you cannot special summon monsters except fire monsters, but it's only when this card is face up on the field, so you just make an Ambler Whale, Raging Phoenix, whatever you want. There's a couple fires that you're able to go into, so it's not such a terrible thing that you actually get locked. And yes, the amazing generic effect we talked about is the fact that you're able to special summon a fire monster from your graveyard during your main phase. Any fire, any position, can be played in any deck. That's actually insane. Like, it doesn't even have a downside in the other effect where it's basically able to be special summoned back to your field if your opponent, special summons a monster or monsters when it's in the graveyard. You basically get to target a fire monster you control and a monster your opponent controls, destroy them, you special summon this card. It doesn't get banished when it leaves the field, it just comes to your field, stays there, revives the fire if it survives your opponent's turn, gets in the graveyard and has a pop effect again. So it's an insanely busted Link. What's so great about it is the fact that it's actually in the graveyard for its second effect, so it makes your interruptions layered, especially in the Fire King deck, and that's so convenient, so you don't lose to board breakers as hard as you probably would. You're essentially ending on Ambler. If you look at a fairly basic Fire King combo post Phantom Nightmare, you're ending on the Ambler, and you have most of your interruptions in the graveyard and in the hand. So that's what makes this deck so busted, and Princess is one of those hidden interruptions that also works really well with Ambler, because once that card is in the graveyard, it also has a disruption effect. So usually you're going to be popping the Ambler and one monster your opponent controls, and then just, you continue with your plays. So yes, it's going to be a fire-dominated meta. It's going to be fairly insane if you think about it. So, Princess has to be somewhere towards the top of our list today. But let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about ritual monsters. So these ones are light. They have nothing to do with the fire decks, but maybe they will balance things out a bit. The next card on today's list is going to be Lo, the Prayers of the Voiceless Voice, or Novox, as it used to be called, because, name changes just kind of suck. And I don't know why they exist, but yeah, let's just pretend it's called Novox. I don't know. So Novox, or Lo, is one of the main parts of the Voiceless Voice deck. So we could literally put the entire archetype on this list, because I think it's going to be one of the top meta decks. I think it has a lot of potential. Not as great as Fire King in terms of power level, but there is a lot of potential there. So basically everything is revolving around Lo, or Novox. And if you ritual summon exactly one light ritual monster, warrior, or dragon, this basically can be the entire tribute, which is so useful. And if it's normal or special summon, you're able to place a Voiceless Voice spell or trap from your deck face up in your spell and trap zone. And they actually have really good spells and traps. They're actually protecting their monsters. They are search cards. They search your stuff. And it also has a third effect. If a light ritual monster, warrior, or dragon, again, is special summoned to your field while it's in the graveyard, you can special summon it back. So you're able to use it as a tribute, bring it back, and because it's on the field, it helps your cards get, additional effects, very similarly to how Hydrant works for Rescue Ace. So in tandem with that, I wanted to put another card from the Voiceless Voice archetype on the list, which is their boss monster, since what you want to do is you want to be ritual summoning light warrior or dragons. So here we have a light warrior level 7 ritual monster, Skull Guardian, protector of the Voiceless Voice. And it can be ritual summoned with prayers of the Voiceless Voice, and it gains 2050 attack while you have Lo, the Prayers of the Voiceless Voice. So that's what I meant when I said it's working in tandem with the entire archetype. If it's in the field or in the graveyard, this card gains attack, so it becomes 4,100, if my math is correct. And if it's ritual summon, you can add one Voiceless Voice monster or one ritual monster, warrior, or dragon from your deck to your hand. So it's able to search your cards from the archetype, and also it's able to search Sauravis, which is really nice because you actually get to ritual summon it and utilize its first effect, not just use it as a hand trap. So that's really cool. And when your opponent activates a card or effect while you control Lo, quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. It's a search, a negate, gets a lot of attack points, and because of their spells and traps that Lo places, not certain if it's spell or trap, but one of them actually protects your monsters from being targeted, if I'm not mistaken, so it's really, really hard to actually get rid of. It's definitely going to be a control deck that hopefully is able to, kind of hold back some of the busted decks that are going to be, dominating the meta. So yes, I definitely had to include both of these cards on today's list. I'm really excited about Voiceless Voice, and, we'll see what the archetype does in the next format. So as for the last card, I really, really wanted to give some props and shoutouts to Raid Raptors. I chose Raid Raptor, Rising Rebellion Falcon for the last card on today's list, but please share your thoughts and let me know which card, in your opinion, should make the number 5 spot on my little list today. But I chose this card because it's giving a lot to the Raid Raptor archetype, and it's also so on brand. I just love when cards make sense. And this one is pretty much everything that a Raid Raptor boss monster has to be, in my opinion. So let's read through the effect. It's requiring 5 level 13 winged beast monsters, but they're also getting a rank up magic force spell in Phantom Nightmare. So you're going to be making it very easily, not actually using 5 level 13 winged beast monsters, because that's insane. It's unaffected by other cards' effects. So Like I said, on brand, a Raid Raptor card has to be unaffected, of course. If it succeeds summon, you can destroy as many cards your opponent controls as possible. Then, if this card has 3 or more Raid Raptor Xyz monsters with different names as material, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the combined original attack of the destroyed monsters. So, it's really good. It's so good for Raid Raptors. And once per turn, you can detach 3 materials from this card and target a Raid Raptor Xyz monster in your grave. This card gains that monster's effects until the end phase. So I really love this because from the combos I've seen, you actually make 2 of them. You're able to, because on Xyz, upon Xyz summon, it destroys your opponent's cards. So in theory, you want to make it during your opponent's turn, but you're actually able to make 2 during your combo. So in your turn, you get to make it copy one of your monsters, which is going to be the Force Strix usually, or anything else you might want to utilize in that point. And then you continue with your combos, so you get to your end board. There's a lot of support cards for the Raid Raptor archetype in Phantom Nightmare. Feel free to read through all of them because from what I've seen from deck profiles, you're actually utilizing most, if not all, of the new cards. And it's providing extenders to the archetype that kind of struggled with its initial plays going through, even though Negation on Vader's Knight still kind of hurts. I think this deck is going to be rogue or tier 2 at best, but it could surprise me. But I still had to include this card on the list because it's a busted boss monster. So yeah, I actually also wanted to include an honorable mention for today because one of the exclusive actually really surprised me. I kind of think TCG exclusives are weak. They're not as insane, if we're being honest. Garura, that's amazing, and at one point Dangers were TCG exclusive. Pit Knight early is not bad, but for the most part they're kind of meh and mid. But as for Psychic Processor, I think this card has a lot of potential, and I've seen people try things out, do some combos with Earth Machine and the likes. So let's read through the effect. It's a level 3 Psychic Dark Monster, and you can banish this card if you control it. Special summon up to 2 machine, psychic, and or cyberse monsters from your hand, and they can attack directly this turn, which is really good. During the same phase of the next turn after this card was banished, you can add this banished card to your hand. So just such a good extender. You do need to get it onto the field, but it is a level 3 psychic. You can just emergency teleport it out, doesn't even waste your normal summon, get to banish it, summon up to 2 from your hand, and continue with your plays. So a really decent piece of support for any psychic cyberse machine archetype, which would be, Earth Machine, Cosmo even, and the likes. So I'm interested to see if it actually sees play in some decks, but I wanted to mention it today. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for today's list. From what we've seen, fire decks are going to be insane. Voice might be keeping them in check. We'll see about that. Raid Raptors are interesting. But as for the actual Phantom Nightmare set, there's a lot of support for some forgotten archetypes like Ghoti, for example. Goblin Riders seem fairly interesting. So again, feel free to read through the entire set and share your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like the video, of course, like it, sub, ding the bell, and I'll catch you in the next one.